We have made peace in the states, and we have a total, and I am supporting our Rainbow Party or Rainbow Coalition. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu is our president and is the one we are supporting. Okay, Chinda is the governorship candidate that I am supporting, and anybody who believes in me will support. And every candidate that is under the rainbow. For those of you who are saying, Fubara, hey, let's stay. We want to collect something before we run. There's nothing to collect. Oh.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Pivot Report. Today, we have to ask a very uncomfortable question. Did Siminalayi Fubara just betray the people who stood behind him during the political war with Nyesom Wike? Because after years of confrontation, political battles, court cases, impeachment threats, and the emergency rule, the governor of Rivers State is now saying something that would have been almost unthinkable at the height of that crisis. The war is over. Fubara has declared his support for President Bola Tinubu, backed the Wike-led Rainbow Coalition, and asked his supporters to support the coalition's candidate ahead of the 2027 elections. But is this simply reconciliation, or is it a political surrender? Let's go back to where this story really began. When Siminalayi Fubara emerged as the PDP governorship candidate in 2022, he was widely seen as Nyesom Wike's preferred successor. Fubara went on to win the 2023 governorship election, taking roughly 63% of the vote. At that point, many expected continuity. Wike had spent 8 years building his political structure in Rivers State, and Fubara appeared to be the man who would inherit it. But politics has a way of turning political families into political battlefields. Within months of Fubara taking office, the relationship between the former governor and his successor began to deteriorate. What started as a disagreement over political control became a full-blown struggle over who would control Rivers State. The House of Assembly became divided. There were legal battles, there were impeachment threats, and the political temperature continued to rise. By 2025, the crisis had become so severe that President Tinubu declared a state of emergency in Rivers State and suspended Fubara, his deputy, and the state legislature for 6 months. Think about that for a moment. A governor who had once been presented as Wike's political successor had now become the center of one of the most extraordinary political crises in modern Rivers State. After returning to office, Fubara's political direction began changing, and eventually the man who had spent years fighting Wike's political camp began moving back towards it. Then came July 2026. At a public event in Rivers State, Fubara declared the war was over. He said he had returned to the family, and he publicly endorsed the Rainbow Coalition and President Tinubu.
I am already in the family. I've gone back to our family. So please, wherever you are, give your total support to that coalition. We need to move forward. The time of war is over. It's time of peace. And this peace is taking us to another level.
More importantly, he told people who believed in him to support every candidate under the coalition. This is not a small political adjustment. This is a major pivot, and naturally, it raises a question. What happened to the political struggle that brought Fubara so much public sympathy in the first place?
I hear that you are supporting the Rainbow Coalition aligned with Nyesom Wike. What exactly changed?
You are aware that my principal is the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara. And he has said there is peace in Rivers State and that we need to move on as a state. That if we truly support him, we should join him to the Rainbow Coalition. So we are joining the governor, who is our leader, and my principal to Rainbow Coalition. That is what we are doing for peace to reign in our state. We are supporting our governor because we want peace in our state, because he is our leader, and we are going to follow him wherever he goes to. He has told us, if you love me genuinely, follow me to wherever I'm going to. So we are following the governor to where he's going to. That is where we are as at today, Rivers State.
This is where the story becomes complicated, because whether Fubara betrayed his people depends on what you believe his political responsibility was. If you believe Fubara's supporters were fighting for political independence from Wike's influence, then his latest decision can certainly look like a betrayal. They may ask, what exactly were we fighting for? Was the battle about principles? Was it about the independence of the governor? Or was it simply about who controlled the political machinery of Rivers State? Because if the answer was political independence, then returning to the same political family could look like abandoning the very people who stood with him. But there is another side to this argument. Perhaps Fubara simply realized that endless political warfare was becoming too expensive. Rivers State had already experienced political paralysis. The governor was suspended. The state legislature was suspended. The administrator took over during emergency rule. And even after the political actors returned, the conflict continued. So perhaps Fubara looked at the situation and decided enough is enough. If reconciliation can restore political stability, attract investment, and allow government to function, then perhaps peace is more valuable than another political battle. And that is why calling this a betrayal may be too simple. Politics is not only about who wins the next election. It is also about what politicians promise their supporters when they are fighting. During the Rivers crisis, Fubara became a symbol of resistance for many people who believed that a governor should be able to govern without being controlled by his predecessor. That was the deeper political issue. So now that Fubara has reconciled with Wike, Nigerians are entitled to ask, what exactly was resolved? Was the political problem solved? Or did the political actors simply reach an agreement over who gets what? Because peace between politicians is not automatically the same thing as peace for the people. And that distinction matters. Look at the situation carefully. Wike still has enormous political relevance. Tinubu gains another important political alliance ahead of 2027. The Rainbow Coalition gains the backing of the sitting Rivers governor. And Fubara gains political space after years of confrontation. But what does the ordinary Rivers voters gain? That is the question we should be asking. Does this reconciliation mean better governance, more infrastructure, more investment, more jobs, more political stability? Or is it simply another elite political arrangement designed to secure political power ahead of 2027? Because if the people remain spectators while politicians settle their differences behind closed doors, then the real beneficiaries of the peace may not necessarily be the people. And this is where I think we need to be very careful. Political consistency is important, but so is political reality. Fubara has already experienced what prolonged confrontation can cost. Rivers State experienced a level of political instability serious enough to trigger federal emergency rule. So perhaps the governor's decision is not a betrayal. Perhaps it is an admission that politics is about negotiation. You fight when you have to, you negotiate when you can, and sometimes you make peace with the people you once fought. That does not automatically make you a traitor, but it does create an obligation. Fubara must now prove that this peace is about River State, not simply about political survival. And this is where the story becomes much bigger than Fubara and Wike, because this reconciliation could have consequences beyond River State. Fubara is now openly supporting Tinubu and Rainbow Coalition. That means the political realignment taking place in Rivers could become part of the larger 2027 calculation. And Rivers is not just another state. It is one of Nigeria's most politically important states, economically significant, and strategically important to national politics. So, what happens in Rivers could tell us something about the larger political map taking shape before 2027. Are old political enemies genuinely reconciling? Or are they simply reorganizing themselves for the next election? So, did Fubara betray his people? Maybe, but I don't think we have enough evidence to give that verdict yet. The real test is what happened next. If this reconciliation produces stability, better governance, and tangible benefits for the people of River State, history may remember Fubara'S decision as political maturity. But if the peace simply restores the same political structures that the earlier struggles were supposed to challenge, then his critics may eventually say, Fubara didn't end the political war. It simply changed sides. And perhaps that is the question Rivers voters should be asking before 2027. Was this peace made for the people or for the politicians? What do you think? Did Fubara betray the people who supported him? Or did he simply choose peace and political survival over another costly confrontation? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this analysis, subscribe to the Pivot Report, where today's headlines meets history. Because we don't just ask what happened, we ask why did it happen and what could it mean for tomorrow. This is the Pivot Report. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.